Hello everyone, welcome back. We're continuing with Sefer Chafetz Chaim, section 4 of Klal 2. And in this section, the Chafetz Chaim lists the second qualification that is necessary to use in order to use the Apet Lota license. Right, Apet Lota, just to remind ourselves, is when we hear Lashon Harah in the presence of three people, right? And there are many other things that this applies to, but the second qualification is that you have to personally hear Ruvain, right? Ruvain, for example, the speaker of the Lashon Harah, you have to hear him speak the Lashon Harah in the presence of three people. And only if you personally heard, may this license be used. However, there are many other qualifications that we have not yet enumerated, and therefore it's best not to use this license. Furthermore, there are a lot of other qualifications that we have already listed that it comes about coincidentally, right? You don't relate the information, negative information, on purpose. And lastly, this view of the Rambam, which we are talking about right now, is not even accepted by most authorities. So therefore, it's better not to say anything, even not to relate Lashon Harah, even if we heard it in the presence, even if we heard someone speak it in the presence of three people. Okay. However, if, for example, Yehuda, the person who heard the negative information from Levi was one of the people who heard Reuven speak Lashon Harah, and he says to Yehuda this information. He also says, I heard Reuven say this in the presence of three people. It is prohibited for Yehuda to go ahead on this basis, which Levi tells him, and to repeat this matter to other people. Since Yehuda does not have first-hand knowledge that Reuven had related the negative information about Shimon. Shimon is the person who's being disparaged. In the presence of three people, he may not repeat that information to others. Because Yehuda cannot fully trust Levi, that Reuven had in fact spoke Lashon Harah in the presence of three people. And furthermore, Yehuda may not even repeat the negative information that Levi told him about Shimon, even if he doesn't mention the name of the person who said the Lashon Harah, who decimated the Lashon Harah. In this case, this is Reuven. Yeah, so even hiding the identity of the person responsible for the decimating the gossip, although Yehuda avoids the prohibition of rechilut gossip, which you cause discord among people by relating the name of who said what mean thing against you, it's nevertheless a violation of the prohibition of Lashon Harah, if he did repeat the view. Unless the Chafetz Chaim says, Shimon's misdeed had already been publicized and is known to everyone. Meaning, if the information is widely known, and everyone knows Shimon's misdeed, the Chafetz Chaim says you are permitted to relate the matter about Shimon's misdeed to others. However, this is sticking with the previous qualifications that you can't relate the matter Lashon Harah as a fact, and his intentions cannot be to disparage a fellow Jew. And the Chafetz Chaim lists a further qualification regarding the Apet Lota license. Even if Yehuda knows for a fact that Reuven said Lashon Harah about Shimon, which if he hadn't known this, if Levi then told him later that Reuven did speak Lashon Harah about Shimon, you're not allowed to believe that, right? Considering you didn't know it beforehand, you're not allowed to believe that, because this is Lashon Harah that Levi is speaking about Reuven right now. Levi is saying that someone committed an Aveira, right? In this case, Reuven said Lashon Harah about someone, and Levi is now saying to Yehuda that Reuven did an Aveira. And this is Lashon Harah, and therefore, as we learned, Yehuda is not allowed to believe this information. But if Yehuda knows for a fact that Reuven did in fact say Lashon Harah about Shimon, and Levi, and he only doesn't know one, fact, and this is whether Reuven said this information in front of three people, and then Levi comes and tells him that Reuven did in fact say this information in front of three people. Nevertheless, one cannot base this based on this assumption, cannot go spread this negative information. And therefore, in this case, it would still be forbidden for Yehuda to tell anyone what Reuven said about Shimon. Since Yehuda is not certain that Reuven had in fact said Lashon Harah in the presence of three people, only heard it from Levi, Yehuda cannot justifiably employ the Ape Flasa license. Okay, that is it for today. Thank you very much for listening.